Hello and welcome to the Empire State Trail Weekly Update, a look at the latest news from across the Erie Canalway and Empire State Trail. And this is the update for May 10th to May 16th, 2026. And looking at the Fairport Canal Cam here, and we see some activity. Some people out rowing, going by in their motorboats, people running, so things are starting to happen on a beautiful sunny morning. So, Google Maps is doing it again. A lot of people use Google Maps to follow the canal trail, and at best it should be a backup for you. The Empire State Trail and the Erie Canalway Trail are marked on the maps, but Google Maps doesn't always use that. It's not directing you to that. And here's a prime example here in the section between Port Byron and Savannah. And since I live here in Port Byron, I'm always interested to see how Google Maps sends people or brings people into the village. For a while there, it was directing people up over Holland's Island, a closed bridge here, and we finally convinced Google that was a bad idea. Don't send people to a closed bridge. But if you look here, you can see here's the Canalway Trail coming into Savannah along 31. And you can see it, they got it marked here. Here's in green from Clyde to Brown Road. Then they put you over onto 31. And then here's 31 comes down and it's going to go out this way. So that's the flagged or marked Empire State Trail, Erie Canalway Trail, however you want to look at it, whatever name you want to give it. Here's what Google Maps tells you to do. And it's adding a lot of miles to your trip, especially this one up here. I find this interesting. Sends you way up here to Spring Lake and around. If you're scared about riding on 31, I'll tell you that 38 is not any better. And I don't know why Google Maps is doing this. But, there's nobody you can write to a Google Maps and say, this is an error, correct it. I did have a conversation with Gemini about this and went into this thing how, they're picking out the safest route for you and blah, blah, blah. And this is a perfectly lovely ride going out here along Maiden Lane. I use this my wife and I will sometimes just go out with our road bikes and ride this. Perfectly lovely ride. In fact, it's one of my alternates on a map I made. But here's the Empire State Trail going this way. So just be careful when you're only following Google Maps for your ride navigation, that it can lead you astray, especially in these on-road sections. It will not always take you onto the Empire State Trail. And the problem I have with this is Port Byron's now a trail town. We're trying to welcome trail travelers, and the Empire State Trail comes in on 31, and then heads over here on the watered canal. And here's the actual trail right here, and it's bringing you in past all that. And I asked it for directions from Port Byron to Savannah. That's why it's showing me two ways here. But it's not going to take you, if you follow this and you came in and then you went over this way, you would miss the grocery store, you would miss the Erie Canal Park, you would miss the Historic Society, you would miss the downtown, you would miss the pizza shop, the Dollar General. So, that's the big issue I have with Google Maps suggesting that people use these backcountry roads. Again, perfectly lovely roads, very low traffic, wonderful roads to go on, but it's going to make you miss. And I'm just using this as an example of be cautious when you're using Google Maps. This is all flagged as Empire State Trail. It's all got the blazers and the markers out there. Bike Route 5, Empire State Trail. So it's all flagged here, and it's showing it, Empire State Trail. So just be cautious with that. So here's a way you could use Google Maps and make sure it's right. If you're a Google user, if you have a Gmail account, or you could just make one, they're free, of course. Create your own map under My Maps. Just type in My Maps, and it'll allow you to create your own map, and it's pretty easy to do. I created one from Newark to DeWitt. I'll send this along to people who are coming into the Hideaway for the night or a little confused because there's so many on and off-road sections here. And my wife and I were out here riding the trail, and we just wanted to see what amenities were out there, what the problem areas were. So it's pretty easy to set this up. And what you could do is, if you're looking for a hotel here, you could click on that and save it and create yourself a route. And then your next stop would be in Port Byron or Weedsport. Click on that. And if you want to make sure you're on the trail, just click on some sites along the trail, and it's going to force Google Maps to recognize that. On here, I got a lot of extra information I put on. This is a Erie Canal site, the enlarged Erie Canal site. Here's a Bard's Canal site. So I was just trying to populate it with a whole bunch of other information. Here's I suggest an alternate road if you're really nervous about riding along 31. Here's that alternate that Google Maps does want to send bicyclists to, off along Maiden Lane. There's also, the information, Bike Route 5. And then, where the parks are, where the shelters are. And then, if you follow this, you're going to follow the logos here, and it'll keep you right on the trail. And then when you get into the Syracuse area, I got a lot of symbols here because the trail gets so wonky in there, going back and forth. So you're on the lakeside trail, then you're on a sidewalk, and then you're on a road, and then you're on a creek walk. And so I really populated it with icons here just to show people where they could go. So that's something you could do on your own. And I'll make this map here available in the show notes in case you want to take a look at that, or you download it to your phone, and then this will pop up when you use Google Maps. And here's a underutilized resource. On the Parks and Trails New York site, they have the Visit the Empire State Trail Towns. And we just went through this process, and it shows you the Lockport, Brockport, Newark, Clyde, Cuyahoga County, Canal Communities, Rome, Little Falls, Canterbury, Amsterdam, Schuylerville, and Fort Edward are all trail towns. So what we've done is we go through, and we've talked about this process before, but you go through and the local community takes a introspective look at their community as to, from a cyclist eyes, what do you need, what do you want, what do you want to see, where do you want to stop, and so let's just pick let's pick Amsterdam here and see what they say about Amsterdam with the big heart. Why visit? And they give you the different places you can go see. They give you an interactive map. Important in Amsterdam because the trail comes along the south side of the river here. You really never get into Amsterdam unless you take a detour. But they give you, where to park, where to stay, what events are going on, and more information. So this is a handy resource, and you're planning your trip. Make sure you check this out. Because it might have information that you're looking for. This has all been vetted. They got a committee looking at it. It's not just somebody saying, hey, I stayed there 5 years ago, and then all of a sudden you find out that place isn't there anymore. This is all up-to-date information. So check out the Trail Towns links on the Parks and Trails website. So let's move on to any new trail closures. And here's the site you want to check. The maps aren't the greatest, but here's the site you want to check for the latest and greatest. Empire State Trail, empirestatetrail.newyork.gov trail closures. And it's not showing anything new from last week. Let's flip over to the Cycle the Canalway Trail map from Parks and Trails. So we still have that ongoing closure there in Buffalo. And this is for all you end-to-end bicyclists. This is right at canal side. So you're going to be starting with a trail closure. You have to work through the city streets. They are bike lanes along the city streets, but you still have to work through the city streets, get back on the trail. So just be wary of that. There's been a couple posts on some forums about this closure here, and there is a closure over here in the West Rochester area, and Chilai area here. So you're going to have to take a street detour around the trail resurfacing there. This is just a warning for they're working on the bridge on 490 that goes over the trail, so you're going to just be cautious of that. If there's a flag man there and he has to stop you for if they're doing something, they don't want things falling on your head. That would be unpleasant. There's a whole bunch of activity going over here in the Utica-Rome area. This ongoing closure here at the in Durhamville at the aqueduct, just a quickie detour around that. They're still showing the closure here on Lock E21, and they're working on the lock so you can't cross the lock gates, and so just use 46. There's some other closures over here. I think they're working on some trail or on embankment, Thomas Road culvert here. So this is expected to be done by the 30th of June, so be cautious of that. You're going to have to go around that. And trail maintenance between Barnes Road and Harbor Lock Road starting in May, so they'll have a detour there. And those are the ones that they're showing right now, and they're not showing anything else, so just some minor inconveniences for you. This is something that popped up. Schenectady's new wave, trails, wayfinding in a downtown finally built for daily life. In the Hello Nation publication here. Kind of neat that they're considering Schenectady is becoming a walkable city. You can click on here if you want to read the full report, but multi-million-dollar redevelopment efforts underway, and a lot of it centers around pedestrians and bicycles. So that's a real neat thing to see for Schenectady. So here's the calendar. We're on May 10th here, Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all. The next weekend as the canal opens. And looks like the Mohawk Valley will be okay, and out west will be okay, but I think the Seneca River is going to be closed for a bit longer. It's still very, very high. And I don't think that'll be open, but they'll probably get boats heading, at least heading west along the canal system. But canal opens. They got the Seneca Chief is at the Waterford Canal Fest on the 16th. Then on the 24th, you have the Buffalo Marathon, which takes place around Canal Side. So be careful of that if you're going to be in that area. Weedsport Field Days causes a lot of congestion around the trail. And you certainly don't want to be camping in Weedsport in the field days. So 28, 29, and 30. And we're looking ahead towards June. June's a light month right now because of I think because of graduations, people tend to not plan a lot of festivities. But Fairport Canal Days is the 5th, 6th, and 7th. The Seneca Chief will start its cross-state tour here, scheduled for June 6th, leaving Waterford, heading towards Amsterdam. And then it spends a couple days in Amsterdam, a couple days in Little Falls. So this is the schedule as published right now. This is subject to change, of course, depending on weather conditions and other issues that pop up. And then looking way ahead to July 3rd, 4th, and 5th is the Seneca Falls Harbor Fest. Seneca Falls is a little bit off the trail, but a lot of people like to drop down to Seneca Falls. It's close by, so they like to drop down and stay there. So just be aware that the Harbor Fest is going on 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And that's it for this Empire State Trail Weekly. And please note that this is an independent weekly update and is not affiliated with New York State, the Canal Corporation, or any official trail agency. Information is based on publicly available sources and rider reports. And here's more of my AI-generated trail music to play us out here. Please remember to give this a like and subscribe. Leave a comment. If you see something out there that you think people should know about, let us know. And we shall see you next week.
Right on the Schuylkill, rolling free. River by my side, it's calling me. History passing, wheels they spin. On the Schuylkill Trail, I'm riding again. Locks and canals where the barges ran, and iron rails that shape the land. Now it's Mitch and his crew, cleaning locks till the evening dew. Right on the Schuylkill, rolling free. River by my side, it's calling me. History passing, wheels they spin. On the Schuylkill Trail, I'm riding again. At Frick's locks and other stories remain, where canal boats drifted through the chain. Easter Center keeps past alive, and Oaks Canal lets paddlers thrive. From Reed's Mills to Manayunk, Old Stone Arches, Riverside Funk, with Sandy's book and pictures so true.